Look at Maxime. He knows he's done it, Kaya.
That is tension leaving Maxime's body right now.
He is the winner. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, the Frenchman. He wins the AI Cup. He banks the ticket to Toronto. He is going to the Tour Finals. He does the impossible. He beats Magnus Carlsen in 2 matches.
Roi des 4, il avance son roi à fou F1, il bloque tout. Et c'est roi C7 et c'est 2 dames. Et ces 2 dames abandonnent. Lâche ça, let's go. Let's go. Let's go Maxime. Let's go le punto. Ça dégage maintenant.
All right, special podcast episode from Toronto, Canada. It's the end of the Champions Chess Tour. Unfortunately, both of you are eliminated, but that does allow us to have a very special guest with us today. We have the Frenchman with 3 names, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, joining us. Maxime, welcome to the podcast.
Nice to be here.
Pleasure to have you on the podcast.
I know I have good company on that seat.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we've had some interesting names for sure. But obviously you're one of, I think, the 7th highest rated player in history, if I'm not mistaken. A very rarefied 2800 club,
yeah,
for sure. So it's always a pleasure.
But it's getting tougher now to get in there.
It's definitely tougher right now, but welcome to the show. Tell us a bit about this tournament. Let's start with that. Champions Chess Tour just finished. Well, actually, the semifinals just finished. The finals start today. Tell us a bit about your experience.
I mean, the experience in itself was very nice. My play was nothing short of horrifying. I've had problems with consistency since COVID in terms of playing well and sometimes very well in tournaments, actually winning a few events. I don't know, but I think I win at the same weight events compared to before COVID. But when I do badly, I don't do average or mediocre. I can do shameful, and this time was shameful. And the result in itself, it can happen. It was a lot of Armageddon losses, but the way it happened, the way some of my games went, the blunders I was making, the oversights, it was really not up to my standards.
I'm actually kind of curious about your opinion, both of your opinions on the format. Let's start with you, Fabi.
We were asked,
interesting format,
we were asked
right?
this yesterday together, by Eric Altebest.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just curious because I guess they're planning to most likely change something next year. Well, they're going to change the preliminary, but maybe also the final stuff.
It could be, and I've actually been asked the same question by Michael today. I think the format is nice. It's nice to have a round robin. It's nice to have matches because then you don't have draws. So this part is good. The survival stage I like, and I think every tournament should end with a playoff. It might be a controversial take, but for instance, for World Rapid and Blitz, I would very much like to see top 4 go to semi-final finals. I think that would be a great addition. So with that in mind, I think the format in itself is great. I do think it was a little bit exhausting for the players because there were so many games. We counted that you could play up to 53 games. Yeah, in a matter of 8 days. So
it's a lot of games. Yeah,
rapid games.
They're all rapid games. Yeah. So
we were thinking with Fabi that maybe 15 minutes is too slow for such an amount of games. So maybe 10, or Michael suggested maybe today 12 minutes, something like this could.
And also the Armageddon could go to 10.
Yeah,
10
Armageddon.
rather than 15
Every
days.
game would go to 10 basis time. And I think it would work quite well because also, I know there were pauses during broadcast that were sometimes a bit long, especially for the audience. So, at the same time, we needed rest between games because it was really, otherwise it would have been too intense. But I do think that chess should tend to be more spectacular, more exhausting for the players, not be like one classical game a day, which is exhausting in itself because, okay, you have all the preparation beforehand, but like we cannot complain because the classical games, of course, if you were playing 6 to 7 hour game every day, it would be too much. But generally, like average is 4 hours, and some of the games just exhaust themselves after 1.5, 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. And some games are quick draws in classical, right? We saw that in the Sinkfield Cup. Exactly, some games are just quick draws. But so you mentioned Michael. That's Michael Brancato.
Yes.
Like for our viewers who don't know, because I was part of watching the Super Smash scene, so I knew about him, but I didn't know his real name. There was this player, Nintendo, and so I was watching him, and then like a few years ago, I actually met him, and that's the reason why the double elimination format was introduced, because he was like part of the organization, and the double elimination has always been the standard in Smash tournaments. And now they're branching out, so now we have this sort of group stage, and which I think is interesting as well. Like you mentioned the 4-player, let's say final. I think there is one issue with that. Like if we go back to 2019, where you beat Magnus in the Grand Chess Tour.
Yeah.
If you look at Magnus's tour points before the 4-player final, it was very dominant. He was winning most of the events.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he doesn't win the whole thing because he lost to you, and then...
That's true, but for instance, in basketball, you had the Warriors in 2016 going crazy, 73-9, sorry. And like best season ever, and they lose in the final to the Cavs. I mean, nobody complained about that. Also, I think in general, because it would mean that, like, I don't know how to implement it because the schedule is already very packed as it is. But like every round robin event would be like this, and like, but of course it has an issue inherent with round robins, that then you're going to play to secure one of the top 4 spots by the end of the tournament. So like there are details to be ironed out. Here it works very well because there are no draws basically in the round robin stage. So maybe like if we want to look at the future, maybe that's what we're gonna have to do, like to find a way to get rid of draws and so on.
Yeah, like most likely we can't find a perfectly fair system.
For sure not, yeah.
But like, for example, in this tour, Magnus again got like 625 points, and the next was like 325 or something. And like, imagine if I had won 2 Armageddon games instead of losing them, he would be knocked out, and it wouldn't. Most people would think this doesn't seem very fair. Like he just managed to lose. Like he did everything better, and then he lost 2 Armageddon games. And then I understand that.
It's true, but it's part of the uncertainty of
yeah.
sports, and also like it's not like Magnus hasn't been on the other side of this. Like sometimes it would just be very clutch.
Yeah.
At the right moment. So.
I mean, the underdog has to have a chance to win as well. And you made a very good point with the Warriors being completely dominant in the regular play.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's not the only example. It's just one example that
but
came
it's a
to
good
my
one,
mind.
right? Because then they got to the finals, they were the clear favorites, and then they lost, right? So it can happen, and it should happen. It just adds to the excitement of sports in general, and we should have that as in chess as well. And I really like the part of the format where everybody's fighting for something, even until the last moment. Like even Hikaru,
exactly.
He was 1 out of six,
yeah.
right? And then he still had a great chance. He actually made it to the survival.
He was even, let's say, a favorite at some point to get to the semifinal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because he's objectively, I mean, it's very close with Noterbeck. Noterbeck is super strong, but we would still probably give Hikaru the statistical edge if we had to, right?
For sure, yeah. Maybe not on current form at this tournament, but still.
Not in general.
And this could be an anomaly, right? Because, okay, let's say Lazovic was expected to score somewhere around there, but Alireza having 1 out of 6 was kind of an anomaly, right? Going into the final round.
It was an anomaly, but the field was very strong. So, like, of course, you have... No, Alireza was 2 out of 6
but
with
he was
me.
Magnus.
With me and Hikaru. I mean, we were not really expected to be there. But at the same time, the field was very tough, so like it can happen.
I mean, someone really strong had to go out at the earliest stage.
Yes.
Like, okay, everyone expected Dennis to go out at the earliest stage,
Yeah.
with all due respect to him, but still people kind of expected it. But someone else who was like a top
Yeah, and he
tier
put up great
grandmaster.
fights, but still,
Yeah,
it
and
was
he didn't.
expected.
He didn't play badly at all. He won a
Yeah.
match. He was close in several matches.
Yeah.
But yeah, someone who's a top tier grandmaster had to go out. There
Yes.
was no way around that.
Yeah, but there was a fight.
But like
between
even
the
if
top
people
two
were
grandmasters.
thinking maybe Nodibek was a favorite to go out, I mean he's still a super strong. He's world rapid champion.
27-30
Yeah.
or close, whatever, 27-20.
ridiculous strength.